junk, garbage, debris, detritus. He's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Now, I know that we have recently been looking at some KO Beast Wars offerings that I had. We're going to take a little break from that. We will get back to it because I've had a number of unexpected things come in early that were not supposed to arrive until about October. One of them being this guy, and I was super excited because there's been a lot of hype over the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Hound use of this mold. And some people have wondered, should I get it, should I not? Should I stick with my classic? Should I stick with my Siege? Well, we're going to do all of those comparisons. How good, how bad is this? Was it worth the wait? Is it going to be good for Hound? Without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And yes, indeed, we plug along with the Legacy Evolution Detritus. Or Detritus. It's pronounced a couple of ways. I actually looked at the phonetic spelling of it. I like the pronunciation detritus. If you don't know what detritus is, it refers to like waste or garbage or rubbish that's like of any kind, really. It might be organic waste from decomposition. It might be actual trash and garbage. Either way, it sort of matches the dude being a junkion. As far as the character itself goes, detritus is basically a dissatisfied junkion who would like to overthrow Wreck-Gar if he could build his own army. He leaves junkion and kind of becomes an arms dealer. Certainly at least a mercenary, as evidenced by the fact of having an Autobot symbol in robot mode and a Decepticon symbol in vehicle mode, which we'll see as we go through. Also, there's a part of the Japanese story fiction where he infiltrated the Decepticons and became the Combiner Roadmaster using their Power Core Combiner technology. But the original version of this guy was an eHobby exclusive in 2003, and this homages that very nicely. Before we talk about him, of course, we have to look at the packaging first. And our lad comes with this packaging right here, and as you can see, we have his Jeep mode on the front, and you can see the Decepticon logo there on the hood. Over on this side, we have the robot mode, and you might be able to tell on the shoulder that his Autobot symbol's there. Of course, a close-up of his face. Our typical Legacy Evolution stuff over here. The specs on the top, of course, and on the back we have our product images and the whole goofy Evo Fusion gimmick. Our boy got instructions, and I'm happy to say that they are both simple and effective. And here's the overall comparison that I'm sure most people would want to see. This mold next to a version of the Siege mold. I don't have the Siege Hound, though I did review it. I do have that mold as Cybertron Defense Hot Shot, which is part of the reason why I didn't feel a need to get the Legacy Hot Shot. I'm not big in, as everybody who knows me knows, I'm not really a Unicron Trilogy fan, but you know what? Having this version of Hot Shot was an excuse to have a mold that is quite good, that I just didn't think worked that great for Hound. I stuck with my classics. You can see the classics next to the new mold as well. The classics clocks in at 84 grams of plastic. The Siege one clocks in at 86, I believe, grams of plastic, and I just realized I don't have his red shoulder cannon on him. I must have dropped it somewhere upstairs. Which means he probably clocks in at more like 87, 88 grams of plastic. So the Siege one cost more, but it actually did give us more and more parts and more engineering and more paint. Then we get to the new guy. The new guy only clocks in at about 76 grams of plastic. Well, it's sort of teetered between 76 and 78. Let's say 78. Let's give him, you know, benefit of the doubt. 78. I attribute the difference between the Siege and the Legacy by the fact that the Siege has a little bit of a bigger backpack. Like if we just take a second and turn him around, you can see that, of course, he has his backpack and the piece that flips out. But when we turn this guy around, all he has is the windshield, right? So I think that's the difference in terms of that mass. As it is, I think we do have a compelling case here for a really good Earth mode Hound when it finally comes out in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. For now, let's get in a little closer and specific with Detritus. So in terms of scores for this guy in the coloration, we really have to kind of defer to the original release from 2003, 2004, whenever it was, that eHobby one, because really the only fiction he has is the like United EX like comic or manga or whatever it is that uses the Roadmaster like version of the body, and an IDW, I think he was like a valet for Wreck-Gar or something, so like he doesn't really have much fiction to defer to. So starting from the feet and working our way up, we should have the beige on the toes, and then the rest of the foot should be like that maroony brown color. The shin should be maroony brown with the red highlight on the side, though arguably we should have a little bit more gold highlight on the side as well, but I'm not angry about that. The thighs are the correct goldy color, the pelvis is the correct color, though fairly basic. The entire, I'll say, grill and hood section, all of that is supposed to be kind of like a stark beige with the gold engine in front and the two silver headlights, the little bit of silver up on the head crest, and the little gold goatee. He does have his little gold goatee on the chin. When it comes to his shoulder-mounted blaster, yeah, it too should be beige. By the way, the shoulder-mounted piece, all completely painted. I figure it will probably rub off of the handle eventually, but it hasn't yet. The little missile in the front is supposed to be a painted gold, as is his blaster down here, also supposed to be a painted gold. Instead of being like a toy accurate rifle, this is more like a box art accurate, cartoon accurate Hound blaster, which I kind of prefer. When it comes to the arms, they too should be maroon with some here they have, I believe, red and, is it gold? Yeah, it is the gold detailing. Red and gold detailing around the wrists, as he should. We are missing some red detailing on the pelvis. But that's about it, honestly. I'm gonna say 9.5. It's really, really good for Detritus. What about the articulation? We might as well do that as well. Then I'll show the Evo Fusion gimmick, I guess. The head, it can go left and it can go right. The little panel on the back gets out of the way. Little wiggle up and down, but not a ton. Not a ton of movement up and down for sure. We do have a waist. We do have an arm that can go all the way around. Full T-pose out to the side. Bicep swivel, elbow 90 degrees. Wrist swivel. So the arms can do it all. I guess because of transformation, there's also a bit of a backward butterfly hinge if you want that. We have a waist, we have legs all the way forward, we have legs all the way back, we have thigh swivel, we have 90 degrees at the knee, we have full splits to the side, and we have ankle tilt all the way down. So like pretty much everything that I could think of that I think I would want. So as such, I'm going to say articulation, and he's solid. You know what? 10, honestly. Well, no, 9.75, because I wish the head could look up and down a little bit more than it does. So 9.75, so a 9.5 and a 9.75. I mean, the guy's almost perfect. Let's do the Evo Fusion gimmick for a second. So this can go in a hole up here on the shoulder or a hole right here on the shoulder. If you know the Toxitron Jazz, then you already know this piece because it's the same piece. This is not the same sort of shoulder-mounted blaster that came with the Siege one, though I think that one was better. This one has a lot of waffling on it, but it is what it is. That said, if you want to do the Evo Fusion thing, I gotta get this, if I can get this missile piece off. Because the missile piece is rounded, it's not necessarily easy to like pull off, and the way that that's mounted is not in this hole, but there's, I think this is all clear plastic, because that peg back there is clear, and that's what this goes on over. So you take this off, and I'm pretty sure that this missile is clear plastic painted gold. That can go up right there. And then you can take this out of his hand, and I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I got to look at the box for a moment. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, I am doing this right. To do the Evo Fusion gimmick, again, you use the peg back there, and you put it into the front of the blaster, and then I guess he holds the thing like, I guess if you want to call that like the toy accurate rifle, I guess you could if you're so inclined. But I think the Evo Fusion thing is stupid. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think it's great. Let's take this out of it and this. If you know the Siege Hound Hot Shot mold, then I don't think that there's going to be much here that's going to really surprise you in terms of transformation. Again, you'll notice he has an Autobot logo over here in this mold. A lot of people said that they would have liked this guy to have a Mercenaries logo, but at the time he came out, the Mercenaries didn't have a logo, and much like with Double Dealer, one mode is Autobot, one mode is Decepticon, whoever's going to pay him the most. Okay, let's do the transformation. So we're going to begin by kind of just picking this out off of the back and opening out these shoulders and picking the head up. As we pick the head up, we should be able to straighten all of that out. You might have to move the shoulder pieces ever so slightly. You see now the Decepticon logo here. Once we have that done, we can open out a leg here and open out a leg here, and we're going to leave those for now. We're going to bring this arm down over and this arm down over and bring it all the way in. Then we're going to come down here underneath, and we're going to turn these arms so that they push up under the body. And when we turn them, I should, I guess, note this. See if I can... Yeah, okay, so bring that up, bring that up. There's a couple of little... I thought that there was a couple of little spots for the arms to actually peg into, but I'm not seeing them there at the moment. If they're there and I'm missing them, I'm sorry. But I thought that there were a couple of little rectangular pegs that went into rectangular slots on the arms. That said, my arms seem pretty solid there now anyway, so whatever. We bend this up at the knee, we bend this up at the knee, we put the back together, and then we close that piece in over this big rectangular chunk. By the way, I found putting these pieces on the Siege Hound terrifying. I don't find them scary here at all. They go on quite nicely, actually. Flip down a toe, flip down a toe. I guess if you're so inclined, we could take a blaster and put it right there, and the other blaster cannon thing and put it right there, and boom, in the end, here we have Detritus in his Jeep mode. And here we have all three of our boys in their vehicle modes. Obviously, the most stylized is the Siege one. That's why it didn't work for me. I said it's a fine Hound, it's a fine mold, but this Cybertronian alt mode just didn't work for me. I think it's because there's too much cab around. And it probably doesn't work the best for Cybertron Defense Hot Shot, but honestly, I'm not that invested in the character that I care that much. This is fine for me, but if you're a big Unicron Trilogy fan guy, I get that it might not be the version for you. And I think we do have one maybe coming up in Legacy Uni, I think. But then we have these two, and they're varying degrees of excellent. I'm just going to get in a little closer on these two specifically. And it's hard for me to pick a favorite here. I do love the classics. Undoubtedly, the Legacy Evolution mold, or the Buzzworthy Bumblebee mold, is definitely more G1 accurate, what with its more boxy, squared off edges, to this one's sleeker, more rounded edges. But they're both Jeeps. This one, a tremendous transformation. He's a tremendous Hound. And if you stick with the classics, man, I get it. This one, also a tremendous Detritus, a tremendous Hound. The transformation is excellent. I'm giving the transformation a 10. Honestly, Detritus, or Hound if you will, overall is probably somewhere around a solid 9.75. And here we are again, and here he is. And you know what? There's something minimalistic about the main torso body section here, but I think that it matches the character. Same for Hound, right? It certainly matches for Detritus because it looks like the 2003 universe. What was it, TFCC or whatever it was, E-Hobby or whatever it was, right? The coloration is excellent. The articulation, very, very good. This is quite solid on this side of the shoulder or this side of the shoulder or in his hand. The colors play nicely off each other, and you know what? It really encapsulates the character, right down to the little goatee point. The articulation is quite good. The transformation, very smooth, very intuitive, and if anything, I feel like it's easier than it was with the Siege. Most notably, the I guess when the sides lock in on the like chunks here on the side of the hood section, I found them very tight on Hound, kind of scary tight. I don't find that here. I find that everything is very, very, very smooth. If anything, having this guy in hand, this mercenary in hand, only makes me that much more excited for Hound. The Classics is excellent, the Siege is excellent, and you know what? This Earth mode for the Legacy line or the Buzzworthy line, whatever you want to call it, is also excellent. Let me know what you think about Detritus, or are you excited for the upcoming Hound? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us here on the channel. And especially don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world, man. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.